Well, g'day and welcome back to the shed. And today I've got something a little bit different, at least for me. I've got this ADMIRAL Transistor 8. Now, I don't often do transistor radios, but the story behind this one is that I sold a radio to a gentleman. In fact, it was the Peter Pan radio that I recently finished. And as happened, he said, well, I've got another radio, I was wondering if you'd have a look at it. And before I could say no, he pulled this out. I had a look at it and I thought, yep, I'd love to get into that. So I agreed. So I'm fixing it up for him. Now, the story is it doesn't work. It was working, the batteries went flat. He changed the batteries, it didn't work. And sounds like there's something rattling around in there. So look, I don't exactly know what's wrong with it. I suspect it's nothing too terrible. I hope not, because it's such a nice little radio. This is a model 8K2 according to Radiomuseum, and it was advertised at the time as a new wonder of the electronic age. So let's see what the new wonder of the electronic age has inside it. Now, this is a really stylish cabinet. It would have been the Ant's Pants back in 1960 something, and you push this button and the antenna pops up and rotates, and you can just push it back in. Looking around it, this looks like it takes the bottom off. It doesn't have a dial. On the side here it has a tuning knob and it has WA marked on it, probably Western Australia, and it has the Western Australian call signs of the local radio stations marked around here. So this must have been supplied with a different knob depending on the state that you bought it in. Now, it wasn't unusual for radios to be supplied with a different tuning dial with the local call signs marked on it depending on where you bought it, but I've never seen anything like this before. Now, looking at it, to get it open, it seems you turn this thing here, and I'm not sure what happens. Okay, the whole thing comes out, as do the batteries, very suddenly. Okay, that scared the daylights out of me. I'll just catch my breath. So this won't have been doing much. What are these? These are C cells, and it takes 8 of them. So this is a 12-volt radio, presumably, and it looks like there's a piece that fits on the end here, perhaps, which is not present. Well, maybe it's in the back. Let's have a look. Here it is. So this must, I guess the red wire is positive. Oh yes, it can only go on one way, so that would presumably clip on like that. Okay, that should now, I don't know, might have power. Okay, it has power.
The government has lodged with China. The Russian army began live fire drill in the sea, causing a number of international fights.
He's a lovely individual to look at. He should run okay here. First, Palmetto, he's never been a...
Selected LG TV. That's right, 15% of a huge range. Save over
Let's see what happens when I pop up the aerial.
Plus, buy with a selected LG soundbar and get an additional $1,000 off the... Active. For 3 hours today, result Through return flights being cancelled and some delays. The airline says operations are returning to normal, but there may still be some flow-on impacts for flights for the rest of the day.
Well, it looks like this might be a very short video. I'll just clean up the pot, give the cabinet a clean up, and that'll be that. Gee, that wasn't too hard. It all looks very clean inside. I just gave the pot a bit of a spray, and it's improved a fair bit. Except that we now don't seem to have any reception. Okay, what's going on here? Maybe the switch is dodgy? Does this have to be in place or something? I wouldn't think so. Why did that not work just then?
Down there, giving. Love the show. Cheers, Robert from Dapto.
That's a ripper, Rob. Thank you. I've got another
Okay.
one, Leames. 35 years ago, left both footy boots at home for the semi-final in under 14s in Hills footy.
Oh, no.
Dad did the madcap race home and back to Achunga.
A chunga?
Achunga. I developed the mantra, socks, shoes, boots, Guernsey, before leaving home, which served me well for the next
Okay.
few years.
Right.
Also, the batteries don't seem to sit in there very well. There are these two clips which are attached to this pretty substantial looking thing on the side here, and it looks as if you should just put them in and rotate them upwards into those clips, but they're not holding it at the moment. So I'll see if there's anything I can do with that. Perhaps just bend them down a little bit.
Blame on Sam.
If I do that, how does that work?
Standing still when they use phones. That may influence your reception quality.
Hey, we are not here to tip the bucket on Naomi Fox when she's a national treasure, but she did admit in the interview, didn't she, that she would stand still now. That was after we lost her the first time. We won't blame Naomi for the phone line.
She's an Olympic gold medalist who's brought us plenty of joy, so she
I'm not sure how that's supposed to work.
Today, she was good enough to give us time. She wanted to keep talking.
She did indeed.
The
Hopefully,
phone line that let us down.
hopefully we will get an opportunity
Okay, that
to chat with her again another time.
seems to sort of hold it in place there.
Before we get to John Aloisi, interesting story caught my eye this week. You know I have a slight obsession with American sports.
Oh,
Just
it doesn't feel good.
Minor obsession.
In addition to all of the Australian sports,
Yeah.
well, now you know who Travis Kelce is, obviously.
Yes.
He's-
And
Okay, I'll have a
You're
fiddle
not
with this
crossing.
and see if I can get it to just fit in together a bit better. I'm not really sure what's wrong here, but it does seem that these two clips should be holding the battery case in place. I'll give the contacts in this a clean as well. They might be a little bit dodgy. That's off. So clearly you just open these clips and the end pops off. So I'll just make sure everything's all right there. The battery's out. This probably needs cleaning up. I don't know. Oh, they're not corroded or anything. It all looks pretty good. I'll give it a quick clean up, but that's all I think it needs. Okay, so this battery pack does sort of fit in here, but it doesn't seem quite right. I'm sure they would not have designed it to be that awkward. You can put the battery pack in and those clips do kind of hold it in place in an awkward sort of way, but it just doesn't strike me as being well designed. This is too far out, that's too close to the edge of there. Doesn't hold it firmly in place. You could perhaps push this down every time, but the thing is that if you do that, it will eventually break this off, and it doesn't look as if it's meant to be bent. I'm really not sure what's going on here. Maybe I can find some photos of the back of one of these and see how the batteries were held in. So, all fixed, or so I thought. I've had a look at these battery clips, and this appears to be the way they are. I found a photo online which shows them exactly like this, and it seems you just place the battery holder in like that, tilt it upwards, and I'm trying to do this one-handed. But just tilt it upwards into these little holders, and they supposedly hold it in place. Well, that one doesn't very well, but that's it, so it seems. I couldn't find any more info on it. That's the way they go. Anyway, I turned it on just to, you know, check how it was going.
The overs to get 30 run.
And it's working now. It didn't work, and I checked the connections, nothing dodgy, so I immediately suspected the switch. Now, up in here, the pot is probably pretty accessible, and I was able to get some contact cleaner in to the switch there, and I've worked that around a fair bit, and it seems now to work every time.
It's time for those guys to saying that was a great experience. Darcy Shaw. And
the pot's nice and quiet. I think that may have been it. I hope so. I don't like to give a radio back to the bloke not being 100% sure, but that's about as... I think what he was getting is the switch perhaps not making contact. But the owner just contacted me and said that along the conversation, he said that he bought this for about $20 quite a few years ago, and that he uses it as his emergency backup radio. Now, he lives in the country, and what happens is if there's a bushfire or an emergency of some sort, the first thing that happens is the power goes out, followed closely by, of course, your modem, no data, and then the mobile phone or cell towers go out, so they have no communication. And what happens in this situation is the local ABC, the local broadcaster, acts as an emergency service to advise people of what's happening, evacuation plans, etc. And for that you really need to have, or they recommend you have, a battery powered AM radio. So in view of that, I thought, well, maybe I'll give it a closer check over, make sure it's going to be reliable into the future. I do see a couple of electrolytics up in there. Thought maybe I could change them, see if there's anything else that it needs. It looks it to be in good condition, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to change those electrolytics. They're quite old now. So let's just see if I can open it up a bit further. Now these knobs just pull off. I suppose I should remove the battery pack. I'm not sure. I'll leave it on for now. Just take the tuning knob off here without breaking anything. There we go. And it looks as if there's just a couple of screws in here on either side, and this might just lift off. I hope it's that easy. Let's find out. Quite long ones. Okay, put those over there with the knobs. Okay, let's just see if this lifts off or something. Looking promising. Don't know what's happening to that aerial. Okay, it has a lead going through there. How is that attached? Oh, it's just soldered onto here, so I'll have to be careful of it. I'll put it face down, and we've got 4 screws in the top which seem to hold this shield on, so I guess I'll take them off. I should have known it'd be more than a couple of screws. It always is, but nothing too scary yet. I don't want to do any damage here. I want to be 100% sure of giving it back to him in good condition. I always get nervous when it's someone else's radio. I don't mind breaking one of mine, but I don't want to break someone else's. And this one here has the earth wire attached. Okay, it looks as if I remove this circlip, this aerial wire might just come out. That will make life an awful lot easier. And then I have to work out how to get at the back of the circuit board. First I have to work out how to get that clip off. It doesn't seem to do anything. That's not much help. What happens if I pop it up? No, that doesn't help at all. Alright, back on with the circlip then. Okay, that's back on. Didn't help at all. It looks as if the pot is in a slotted arrangement here, so if I undo that I might be able to move the circuit board down. I'll also have to take out the screws on the tuning capacitor here. I'll just close the tuning cap just to protect it. Loosen this off. Okay, that does seem to release this end of the circuit board. I don't think it's held in anywhere else that I can see. I'll just undo these couple of screws on the tuning gang here. And I think before I go mucking around with it I probably should remove the battery pack, so I'll do that now. If I can. Like so. Right. Now let's see if I can now pull this circuit board away. I don't want to go harming anything. Ah, there's a screw there. Okay, undoing him. Okay, let's see, the circuit board now moves out of the way nicely. I don't really need it to move further than that, that's fine. I just need to be able to get at this bottom capacitor and see where it's soldered in, so I can do it from there. So I'll start with this one anyway and just see what value it is and see how it measures. So I'll just desolder a lead of this cap. This one here, I guess. Boy, I don't like the way this corner of this circuit board's curled up. It's just become completely detached along there, and I haven't even touched it yet. These things do make me nervous, these old circuit boards. They fall apart if you look at them. Let's see if I can bend that lead up. There we go. So the negative went to there, and the positive goes to this big ground plane, which of course is positive earth. This is going to be PNP transistors all the way through. I need negative on the collector, so generally positive chassis. 100 UF, 12.5 volts. Okay, well, let's see how it checks out. Okay, let's have a look. $162 UF, so it's well over. Here's 0.39 ohms, voltage loss 0.8%, so it's not terrible. but it's not quite right either. I'll replace it anyway, I guess, if I've got one handy. Okay, I've got 100 UF here at 18 volts. This one's at 12.5, so that should be alright now. Positive to ground, so that's the negative, goes in there, and the positive in there. That should come through. Yep, there we go. Just solder that in. Where's the lead? There it is. Can't see it for looking. That should be okay. Just nip that off. I can't see the lead. There it is. And there's this one here. What's he? I'll just desolder him as well, I guess. Let's see if I can just pull that lead out. I'll use solder wick on it if I can't, but hopefully I can just free it up. There we go. There we go. So what is it? 25 at 6 volts. Alright, I should have one of them. Okay, so I've got a 22 at 63 volts, which is more than enough. So I'll put that in here. So negative goes to the track, positive to the ground trace. There we go, it's out. The hole isn't clear, but that's alright. I'll just melt it back through. I'll just push that through a bit further. Okay, so there's this one underneath here, and I think I can just pop him out fairly easily if I'm lucky. Again, these tracks are held on with school glue, so I don't really want to put too much stress on it. Okay, there he is, and I suppose it's going to be another 100. Yes, it is 100 UF at 12.5. And that one measures 194.8 microfarads, so probably wasn't very well. Alright, so negative to that trace, positive to ground. Okay. And that's about it for the electrodes. Okay, so now all I've got to do is get this thing back together. Hopefully I haven't ruined anything. Now that pot needs to slip back into there. I was just about to put it back together and I heard a rattle and I saw this, and it's a transistor. 2N270, which I think was in this socket here. There's two wires very close together and one further away, so that seems to match the holes in the socket. Let's just hope I get it right. Actually, I might just try and get the board into place first, because I don't want to dislodge the thing again putting the board back. So that has to fit, I think, over the top there. The pot slides in there. Okay, that's starting to look all right. Cloth's caught in it. There we go. So that's how, more or less how it goes together. Just gently tighten that. And in the other end, we have the screws in the tuning cap here. And thankfully they line up, that's good. I'll see if I can push this foil thing up in here. And here is the socket where I have to get that rotten transistor. I'll just get some light down there. Okay, I can see that better now. You may not be able to, but this plugs in here by the looks of it. Just like that. Okay, and the others are in sockets too, so I'll just press them in, make sure that they're all good. Okay, yeah, well, apart from one screw which wanted to go in cross-threaded, but I managed to get it in okay, eventually. That's about it. So that should sit down there. Just checking that it all looks all right, but it does pretty much. Okay, so that's clipped in, and we feed it up into its unlikely clips. I hate this arrangement, but that's what it is. And let's just see what happens. That's tuning, that's volume.
Right, and
behavioural.
they said
No.
and
Because they would think, what would you know anyway? After all, I'm
the mother, it's my
I'm
child.
the mother, it's my child. I know everything.
Yeah.
Even though others from the outside.
Well, it still works at least. So I've just given the case a little polish up with Brasso and cleaned the knobs and whatever a bit. And I'm going to put it back in its case and just use it for a little while and make sure it's okay before I give it back to him. There we go. And this goes in there and locks like that. Very simple. It's a very nicely designed little radio. I noticed with the antenna, if you pop it up, I thought, well, can you turn this around and around? But no, the pivot point is not actually in the center, so it only goes that far.
Seem significantly less laughable.
Well, there we go. Seems to be working reliably now. The Admiral Transistor 8 8K2, and the new wonder of the electronic age, was 45 guineas when it was sold, according to Radiomuseum. That's 1958 to 61. That was a lot of money then. But I'd say in this case it was money well spent, because it's really lasted well. This is in beautiful condition. There's not a blemish on it. It's as well, almost as new. A few light scuff marks on the plastic perhaps. But I'm sure the owner will enjoy it for many years to come. Now this probably is going to take the record for the shortest video I've ever made. That's the way it goes sometimes. They're not all that difficult. But I have got another video in the process of being edited up, and a few more things to do on that, so I'll have that up very shortly. So for now, thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon. Bye for now.